Can we as vegans make progress with the animal liberation? Can we do it on our own, or do we need to join with other groups? And if we need to join with other groups, how are we going to make that work? And who should we be joining with? This is Pamela from Animal Justice Emergency, and we'll be exploring this today and talking about the relevance of Black Lives Matter and other groups. Why are we talking about joining with other groups who may not be vegan today? Because experienced social justice activists like Professor Richard Wolff studied these sort of things for a long time, say that the only way that social justice can be achieved is by different groups joining together, tactical alliances for goals. We don't have to agree with everything, but we need to form some kind of alliances. All social justice groups need to do this. Is that a valid point? I think it's a great point, and I think it's also really tricky because as vegans, as animal rights activists, we immediately want to join with people who are on the same ethical and moral page. And obviously, if you're someone like a Black Lives Matter activist, or any other kind of activist, an environmental activist, you want people to join with you who've got aligned values. The thing is, if there's a bit of a crossover in the values, but not 100%, can we still work together? I have struggled with this concept for a long time, and I'm still exploring it. So that's why I thought I'd share today. So on the one hand, it seems that if you're talking to, say, somebody from an environmental group and, you know, they're like, oh, save the whales and, you know, catastrophic climate breakdown and ecosystems and I love squirrels or whatever. And then it's like, well, okay, did you know that animal agriculture is the major contributor to climate change, biodiversity loss, and all the things that you really love? And they're like, yeah, I tried to go vegetarian once and I couldn't. That immediately discounts the possibility of some kind of alliance. Now, my gut feeling tends to be, yes, it does. But maybe it doesn't. And this is a tricky one, because when you look at what we're facing in terms of the neoliberal institutions, the neoliberal culture that is dominating and destroying our entire planet, do we not need to align as vegans with other groups? Because there's numerically not that many of us around, but if we could join, and all the other progressive groups could join together in some kind of an alliance, wouldn't that make some sort of sense? The theoretical notion that we can is one thing, and then the practical thing is another. You don't want to be going to someone from Black Lives Matter or an environmental group saying, hi, can we sort of be your best friend, and we've got this campaign we'd like to work on, and, you know, we'll support you and you'll support us, but maybe I don't really know how this works or even if it can work. It seems to be something that we could be talking about. I was interested to see that a group who are sort of campaigning for a plant-based world in the UK were recently aligning with a group of farmers, and I felt that was an interesting situation, and I was wondering if there are other kind of allies. These are challenging questions, and it's really important because as vegans we need, and as animal rights activists, we need to have more of a sense of urgency. Is it enough for us to be working on performative activism, standing around, maybe showing a few videos? Maybe that's an element of activism, sure, but there's more to activism than that. There's strategic and tactical objectives that we need to have with long-term planning to change the system that we're living in. The system that we're living in is crumbling We're experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic still. It's not going to go away. It's definitely not going to go away. It's here. It will be here for an incredible time. The system is already broken. It's being broken to bits by COVID-19. Economically, socially, and environmentally. Do we want to be trying to take a bit of control, to be in the driving seat of the changes that happen? People may say it's unreasonable. Maybe it is unreasonable. That doesn't mean to say it can't happen. Apparently in China, there's a huge amount of interest in plant-based food. So these were just some of the thoughts that I've had today. Do we need to be building alliances? How do we seek these alliances out? Should we be building community groups, joining community groups? And if we do that, how do we talk about the animal rights situation within that? How committed are we to our change, to driving the change for the animals? These are all big questions. What do you think? This is Pamela from Animal Justice Emergency Together. We can win the war on animals.